First of all, we are going to talk about the Scrapy today. So before we start, we need to set up our environment. So now, just open your Anaconda, then open your Spider. Then from the Anaconda, we will use here to open your terminal. So once you have opened your terminal, we will do install Anaconda, install Scrapy. So when you open it, if you are in Windows, then you need to say here, conda install -c conda forge Scrapy. But if you are in Mac, then if you are using Mac, then we just do pip install Scrapy. So from the terminal, you just type pip install Scrapy. So like this one. I've put my terminal bigger so you can see clear, just like this. So if you are using Mac, then just type pip install Scrapy. Then after that, then just click on enter. Then it should be start to installing Scrapy. Because I have, be careful, because I have my Scrapy installed, so here is the, it asked me to upgrading my Scrapy, but I'm fine. Just ask me to upgrade my pip, but it's fine. Just leave it as down. So once you have Scrapy installed, then we can have a look at Scrapy. Should I wait for a minute for you to set up? So pip install is what you need. When you finish your installation, just hands up, so I know. Okay, and we'll wait for other students. So while you are installing Scrapy, I'll do a bit explanation on Scrapy. So the Scrapy is similar to Beautiful Soup, but you have used Beautiful Soup before. The difference is Scrapy is more in a large scale capacity. So if you want to run more complex web extraction, then Scrapy is better than Beautiful Soup. But if you are doing a little simple job, then Beautiful Soup is fine. So now, have all you installed your Scrapy finished yet? Hands up if you haven't finished your installation. Okay, I will, because without it, we can't do further class. So I will go have a look around. Okay, so most of you have finished the installation. So now we'll talk about a little bit about Scrapy. So Scrapy, it uses some packages, a lot, but the most packages we are using are these 5. So these 5 will be showing later on when we use Scrapy. So it is mostly work for XML and HTML. And so these are the functions we need for extraction web document. So now, when you finish your Scrapy installation, we can do a little bit of try. Actually, for Scrapy, there are a few things we can test, so you know how powerful it is. So for Scrapy, we have 2 separate commands. So here I have list them out. So for this one, it's called global command. For using the global command, it means wherever you are using the global command, it will work, even though your program is not in the same directory. As long as your virtual environment has the Scrapy, then you can do Scrapy and the other command. For example, we will try this one. We try Scrapy version. Actually, when you are installing, you can see the version, but we will try it here. So from here, I have my, I didn't change any directory, but this one is open from Anaconda virtual environment. So this one has the Scrapy installed. So now we try to type Scrapy version. It's not found. Scrapy. Oh, so it's a typo. So now we can see the Scrapy version is 2.5.1. So this is a Scrapy version, which means if you are using Scrapy command like the Scrapy version, this version, then you can do in any directory. It's different to when you run before, when you were doing your midterm task. You need to run your project inside the directory of your program. But for Scrapy, the global command you can do anywhere, as long as Scrapy is installed. But the other one is called project-only command. So for like if you want to do Scrapy crawl, then you need to do it just inside the directory of your project. So that's different. So there are 2 different kind of command for Scrapy. So now we can do another things like Scrapy share. So the Scrapy share is actually, when we do the Scrapy share, we can test it here. Then after the Scrapy share, is actually want you to point which URL you want the Scrapy to packet. So for example, if we try to find one website like Yahoo Movie, actually we do this one, so in English. So we copy this one, copy this URL into our command. So Scrapy share, then we say let it to share the Netflix. So you can see when you say the Scrapy share, the share will be put all the Netflix website into Scrapy. When you finish this one, then we can see command line here, which allows you to ask things about Netflix. So that's the difference. When we use Beautiful Soup, it hasn't got this kind of powerful functions for you to check it. So for example, if from here, if we say we want to find out the title, here is the things we can do. After you put the Scrapy share, you can say response, ask the CSS about the title. So for example, now we check the title of the Netflix website. So now we say, if we say response title, then what can we see? So now, let's see. It says, the output says, this one is the title, movies, Netflix. So actually, it knows you are trying to find things from Netflix. So that's the powerful things Scrapy can do, but Beautiful Soup cannot do it. So that's one thing we can try. So then we go back to our global command. From here, if we want to leave the command line inside the Scrapy, we just say exit. So we exit it, go back to our virtual environment. So from here, let's say we want to fetch. Maybe we say we want to view. We want to view the Netflix URL. So the URL here is not type for URL. It's actually you need to paste a URL. So for example, from our example from Netflix, we want this one to be pasted. So we put this one after here. So we say Scrapy view Netflix. So when we click enter, so actually pointed the Netflix website for you to view it, the actual website. So that's the Scrapy functions, you can use it. So these are the functions we will do. So later on when we have a project, then we can do run spiders. So the run spiders is not only do one single web address, it's actually crawl inside the address. So later on we will explain how spider works. So I will leave you to test a little bit on the response. So everything you want to get is using response. So you can do Scrapy share, then put the URL as whatever you like, the URL. After that, then after the share, you can try to find out the CSS about the title, text, or things inside the text, like that. So I will give you a bit time to test it. So after that, then we will continue the work. If you have, then you can use the first one. Scrapy share, then after that, you just paste the URL, not the code. Otherwise, it won't work. You can test all the response in different ways. Okay, looks all good. So now you have some idea about Scrapy. So now we are going to actually create a project. So the first thing is to do the Scrapy start project. So when you start a project, you need to be careful. The Scrapy doesn't like a repeat name. So because if you download my code, you already have got the movies. So now we need to change it. We don't want the same names. So open your terminal. So now we open our terminal. So from the terminal, you need to decide where you want to open the project. So if you want to open the project from like mine here, then it will be from your root, somewhere around your root. But if you don't want to do it, you need to change your directory. So for example, you can simply find out your directory from, no, not from here. Okay, if you can find out from here, then you can do copy and paste. But this is not mine, so I'm not intended to put in here. So I need to do my change directory to So I wanted to change it to our week 11 directory. So I need to do cd change the directory. So now I'm in week 11 directory. So I will leave you to decide which directory you want. If you want to change it, then you need to do the cd. So once you have decided where to put your project, then we can do Scrapy start project. But we don't want to start a movie project. We can start something like Scrapy project. So we can do things like that. So when you finish, then we just click the enter. Have you all done? If you finish it, then it's successful. Then you can see here. So it will explain you have a Scrapy project start called start Scrapy. So you can using template here. Actually, this one using template here to create a project. Then your project has been created to this place. So that's the explanation of your newly created project. Now, it says you can start your first spider with change your directory to the project. Then you can do Scrapy generate. It's actually generate a spider example, example.com. So this one means if you type things like this one, it actually creates some program for you. So you don't need to write your own program. The Scrapy can write its own program for you. So it will create the whole project and something you need to do the crawling Python program. It will create it for you. So now when we have this one, let's see, we can do this one. So before that, we can check if we say ls, Then we check how many things we have inside this directory. So in here, we have the old things we have from GitHub, and we have a new things called Scrapy project. This one is a newly created project. So now we can do cd to the Scrapy project. You will be wondering, I create my project use capital P, but when I do the cd, it's a small p. Actually, this one is a conventional way. When you create something, you want to read it clearly, so you put the different word. It's called camel case. So it's like a camel, up and down, up and down. So you know this one is 2 words. But when you do the cd in your terminal, you don't need to care about the capital or small letter. So now we hey. Okay, doesn't want me to do it. I don't think this P is matter, but it doesn't want me to do it. Maybe I do some typo, I can't find it. Scrapy project. Okay, never mind. We change it to our Scrapy project. So inside the Scrapy project, actually if you are having your spider here, you can actually check the newly created project from here. So here you can see the newly created project is already in your file list. So if you open it, we can see inside the Scrapy project, there is another folder called Scrapy project. Then inside the Scrapy project, you can see a lot of different Python programs. So these are automatically generated for you. That's Scrapy's function. So inside the Scrapy project, there is one called spider. So inside the spider, we have something for actual program. So what you want to extract from a website is actually put the Python code here. But this one, because we just create a project, we didn't mention which URL we want to scrape. So now we haven't got that yet. So that's the way of creating a project. So now we want to say about. So we have done. We check the folder. Then we check the folder inside the folder, all the file inside the folder. Now we want the Scrapy to generate a spider. So here, if we do this one, we say Scrapy generate a spider movies. Then the movies means we actually catch a name. So the movies will be a name of the newly generated folder. So the project will just looks like a movies. So the project name will be movies. Then inside the movies, we want address. The URL is Yahoo Movie Taiwan. So this one is for start a project, we haven't done this one. But for this one, we can actually ask Scrapy to generate some useful Python code for us. So now we can check this one. So from here, we actually don't, should I move back to, no, maybe we just try this one. Then we just type this. So here, we just type Scrapy let me be clear. So the Gen spider. It's one spider, Gen spider. Okay. We try this one, see what happens. So when we type this one, then we click on enter. It says create spider movies using template. So we have a Scrapy project, then we have a movie inside the Scrapy project. So we have a look, we can have a look here. Actually, it's quicker than we just check from our Scrapy project. So now, inside the spider, you can see we have a new program called movies. So when we open the movies, let's have a look. So now, see, there's a name called movies. So this project is mainly called name movies. Then allowed domains here is the domain we gave the command line. So it will start, the start URL, it will be this one. So when we run the actual something scraping, then it will start from this URL. But what do we want to extract is up to here. So currently we haven't got anything to extract, but we have told the Scrapy to focus on the movie, the yahoo.com.tw. So, do you want to have a try on the created the Python program? So I will give you a bit time to do that. So let's go back to here. So you can try the Scrapy, generate something. If you want a different name, that's fine. It's up to you. Then if you want a different URL, then that's fine. So you can try, for example, you can try something like movies from, English movie from Netflix or something. But Netflix it won't be able to, you can't extract anything from Netflix because it's a pay website, so things in there are hidden. So I will allow you to have a try here.